guys, welcome back to my show. In today's episode, as I said yesterday, I have a really special guest with me today. She's an amazing author and her latest book is out now. Her name is Maya Prasad. Hi Maya, how are you today?
Hi Maya, hi Anika. I'm doing good, how are you?
I'm doing well as well. Thank you so much for being on the show.
You're welcome. I'm excited to be here, and I hope your listeners will be interested in my book and my work.
Of course, so please introduce yourself and maybe give a brief synopsis about your latest book.
I'm Maya Prasad. I'm the author of Drizzle Dreams and Love Struck Things, which came out in October. It's the story of 4 Indian American girls who, over the course of 4 seasons, come of age, they fall in love, they explore new passions. It's a family story, it's a sisterhood story, but it's also romance.
So, could you please give us an insight on what really inspired you to write this book? What was the inspiration behind it?
I had a few different inspirations. It takes place on Orcas Island in the Pacific Northwest, where I live. I've lived here about a little bit over a decade now, and I think it's kind of a way to claim it as my home in a way. I think there haven't really been a lot of books about Indian Americans in this area, so it's kind of nice to see them in a space that you haven't seen them before. Also, I'm one of 4 siblings, so I really enjoyed writing a story about sisterhood, and the whole reason I got into writing was to create representation for South Asians and Indian Americans, so that was also a big inspiration for me.
That's fantastic. It's good to see that you're trying to gain more people into reading about people who look just like them. I know that in this society there are not many books with Indian characters on the covers or characters who are not American, Some of them are just either fully American, or if they are on the rare chance they are characters with characters who look like us. On the covers, they're either telling a struggle story or something is happening to them. Maybe they have a disease or they're trying to overcome some kind of battle or obstacle to just face maybe migration or cancer or any other disease or something like that. But just seeing people like us being on covers, going on adventures, not trying to struggle in the sense freedom fighting and stuff like that is really important, because it shows young writers and readers that they can read and write books like those.
Thanks, Anika. Yes, that's exactly what I was going for. I also felt like when I was growing up, the only books about Indians were usually tackling poverty or other problems in India. There weren't a lot about Indian Americans, and there weren't a lot of joyful books that were about adventure or romance. They were usually tackling very serious topics, but I think brown girls also need that chance to go on adventures, to fall in love, to feel like they're worthy of love, and to feel like they're beautiful. I think that's really important. When I was growing up, I never really felt beautiful, because I think I grew up with a lot of Eurocentric views of beauty surrounding me everywhere. Magazines were always filled with white people, and that was the standard of beauty. So I want to change that with my book.
Definitely. I think that the media kind of sets a totally different tone to what you believe is true. For someone in that area, because right now I've seen slowly authors are trying to write books about their own culture. There are books with Mexican kids on the covers, books with Indian characters on the covers, Chinese characters, Japanese characters, all sorts of characters on the front who are not American. So I think it's pretty cool, honestly, just because it's showing how diverse our community is and how many different kinds of people there are and how we all are different in our own way.
Exactly. I think we have to claim being American for ourselves and show that there's not just one way of being American. And even if you are brown-skinned, even if you're from another country, if you live here, then you are American. And I think it's really important for everyone to recognize that, especially in today's political climate where there's a lot of pushback against immigrants. I think it's really important to us to show how, our universal humanity, and that we care about the same things everyone else cares about, really.
Of course. Yeah, so like there are now slowly, as I said earlier, there are books coming out there. Like there is the books by Roshni Chokshi, there are books by Payal Doshi. Now these authors have gone through like many revisions. Like I know Payal Doshi, I've interviewed her in one of my episodes, and she talked about how her original character cast was all white. They're all going to be American kids with American names, but slowly she realized that she has been reading so many books during her childhood that were of white kids going on adventures. She never thought about herself, people like her going on adventures, and that's when she decided to rewrite the whole book. And that's where Rhea and the Blood of Nectar came. So I feel just the actual realizing that there's way more I don't know how to put this, but like many different ways you can write a book instead of just having like a generic character.
Definitely. For me, I think the whole reason I wanted to get into writing was to see more Indian American characters. When I was in college, I started looking for books about Indian Americans, and there really weren't that many at the time. There were a few, mostly women's fiction, but I wanted that connection with our culture, and that's kind of when I started writing, was a few years out of college.
So what's really something you discovered about yourself through your book?
What I've discovered about myself, resiliency is a big one. I think I've also discovered through the book how I've always known how important family is, but I think writing about it really solidifies that, and how, in a family, you have all these kind of in-jokes that only you and your siblings understand, or only you and your family understand. And it was a lot of fun to write that. And then, of course, I learned a lot about publishing along the way as well. Every step of the way is kind of a surprise. Nothing really works how you think it's going to work. But there's a lot of rewards too. I think it's really nice to finally see that out there. I was able to get, as you were talking about getting those Indian characters on the cover, I was able to get an Indian illustrator for the cover, so that was so lovely. And
That's awesome.
my team at Disney has also been really nice. My editor is a woman of color also. She's Chinese. And it was really nice because I felt like she understood where I was coming from. So there were a lot of things that she was very sensitive about that I'm not sure that every editor would be as sensitive if they didn't have that experience of being, somewhat on the outside and being a woman of color.
For sure, like connection is really important, especially in the publishing world. If you want to be noticed, you could get an editor who may not be a person of color, but if you think about it, they kind of will know how the ins and outs of the book you're trying to write is, but at the same time, trying to find someone who connects with what you're doing, connects with how you think and how you feel about certain things is important, just so that they give you feedback which could essentially be useful to you.
Exactly, and I feel like very lucky that I found women of color to work with. My agent is also a woman of color, and I should also mention that I have a chapter book series coming out. The first book is called Sejal Sinha Battle Superstorm. It's about an Indian American girl who goes kind of on a science adventure where she's learning about hurricanes because she's worried a hurricane will ruin her family's Diwali celebration. And my editor for that series is also one of women of color, so I do feel like that connection has helped.
Definitely.
I think those are the people who are championing diverse works, and they sort of get it. They understand the importance of it.
For sure, because right now we are slowly seeing more books coming out which are having diverse characters on the cover. Now I feel like maybe in the coming few years, maybe in the next 2-3 years, or maybe more or less, we could potentially see more bookstores and libraries with books with people like us on the cover.
Exactly, I hope so. I think we have made a lot of progress, like you said, with We Need Diverse Books, and especially in middle grade picture books and YA. I do feel like chapter books is an area that there haven't been as many. So that was another sort of incentive that I had to write a chapter book with an Indian American character.
For sure, yeah. So my next question for you is, this is kind of tricky one just because it's also a fun one, but a tricky one as well. What's the dream cast for your book? It can be from any side, maybe from Hollywood, Bollywood, Tollywood, anywhere. So what is your kind of like a brief dream cast for your book?
Wow, that's a really tough one because I most of the Bollywood movies I watch are way older with older cast, so I don't know that many like teenager Indian American teenager actors who that's exactly what I would want. If I could get a show, I think I would want like new Indian American teenagers. Obviously, right now there are some great actresses. There's the actress who stars in Never Have I Ever. There's a movie called Spin. They're both great.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't have a lot of specifics for you there.
Of course. So, my next and final question for you is: do you have any advice for aspiring authors or young writers who want to become authors in the future?
Absolutely. First of all, read a lot, which you probably already do. You're probably a huge fan of reading if you want to write anything. But keeping that up and knowing what's kind of new in the marketplace is important because books do change a lot over time. So if you love classics, the truth is they might not be in the same style as what is modern right now. And also don't give up. Being a writer is about resiliency. I was writing for over 10 years before my book got published. And along the way I did have some small successes. So those are the things that keep you going. I had a short story published. I got my first agent. I got a mentorship. Those are all things that helped keep me going. And it's really important to celebrate all those small steps. And any small step that you get, if your teacher likes your story, that's great. If you happen to get a short story published just locally, maybe your librarian just wants to print out your story and put it in your school library. That's a great first step. So just celebrate every step, write lots of stories, share them with your family, share them with your friends, and you'll just improve and you'll be well on your way to being a published author.
That's great feedback, actually. I think that every young writer and every aspiring author out there should keep this in mind, even if their idea is not just to be doing something like writing like stories, and if their dream is to actually just write songs, like a singer-songwriter. I think that just using that same feedback for anyone in the creative side who's into writing or any kind of aspect of creativity would be very useful with that kind of feedback. Thank you so much, Maya, for being on the show with me today. I had a great time speaking to you.
You're welcome, and thanks so much, Anika, and everyone who listened.
Thank you so much, everyone, for listening to the show today. I will keep you all posted with new episodes every Sunday and Monday. So I'll see you all next time then. Bye, guys.
Bye.